Hello, this is Glenn from SimAbility. It is March 6, 2022, and this is a short video covering the products that I'm working on for Fanatic wheels, the hand control products for Fanatic wheels. So I have two things I'm focused on this year, and that's a ring system and a paddle system for the Mclaren Gt3 wheel. The ring system, I'm going to go ahead and cover that first. It's actually due later this year. A lot of work. It's rather complicated, so a lot of development work on that, but I just wanted everybody to be aware that I am working on it. It is definitely going to come out at some point, I'm guessing later this year. This particular unit is on a Max Pappas wheel. We love Max Pappas, love his wheels. It's on a Fanatic podium hub with the advanced paddle module. Let me go ahead and zoom in here. And by the way, thanks to my wife and son for the new camera and the remote control. Very cool. I like it a lot. Makes these videos easier. The ring system, we have a pull ring and a push ring. Now you can configure the brake and gas for either ring. This particular unit is configured so that the pull ring is the brake and the push ring is the gas or throttle. First thing I want to point out is that with this unit on the Fanatic wheels, I am not putting electronics on the ring system. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm operating the clutch inputs on the Fanatic. If you look here, you'll see that linkage. As I push it on the ring, it's simply operating the, I guess that would be the right clutch paddle. Which, by the way, on Fanatic is configurable as gas and brake, so thank you, Fanatic, for offering that configuration. Nice job. So the ring system will simply operate the Fanatic clutch inputs. The other thing, on the brake, this is one of the things that is still in development. You'll see some extra linkage in here, and you'll notice that the ring doesn't travel very far, and it seems quite difficult to pull, and it is. What this is, it's not a load cell, but we do call it a load cell emulator. So we're taking, basically, it's more like measuring the force rather than distance. So you're braking based on force rather than how far you push the ring. It feels pretty good. Still some development work to do on it. One of the challenges with the ring is the flex, getting the flex out and accommodating for the flex. But again, you'll see that it is operating the clutch input on that. And this unit, pull ring right now is configured for the brake, but once this goes production, you'll be able to choose either a push brake or a pull ring brake. And I haven't even begun the design for the push ring brake yet, so that's one of the other delays on that. But anyways, so that's the ring system we're working on. Again, super heavy duty. It's intended for all direct drive wheels in the future. We're targeting Fanatic first. This particular one, my son's been testing. You'll see that there's a spacer on this one. This is so that it would fit on his CSL Elite base, which they are discontinuing, but if you have an old CSL Elite, we have a spacer design, so this would work on that, but it will definitely work on the new direct drive wheels. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. And then let me talk about what's going to be coming sooner. So this is the Mclaren Gt3 V2 wheel. We actually started working on a product for the V1 wheel, and then Fanatic discontinued production on that, and they came back happily with a V2 wheel. It's a nice wheel, great price point. Let me just let me start with how you would install. So these are going to be replacement. These analog paddles are going to replace the stock clutch paddles that the Fanatic wheel comes with. To do that, the customer, you would be taking off the faceplate and buttons. You would unplug the stock Fanatic clutch paddles. Then there's a few screws, and you would remove those completely. You would take the SimAbility paddle unit. There's two wires, two plugs. You'll drop them in. You'll plug them into the clutch inputs on the Fanatic wheel, and the Fanatic Driver will see these analog paddles as if it was the Fanatic clutch paddles. And again, Fanatic has a configuration for gas and brake, so consoles will see that as gas and brake. Again, kudos to Fanatic for that. So the first thing you're probably noticing is that these paddles are huge. and it makes it a lot easier to handle the gas and brake paddles and the hairpins, because that's always the weak point. Strong point of the ring system, weak point of the paddle system is hairpins, when you really have to get a lot of input in. But because the paddles are so big, you'll see that there are no shifter paddles, so you're probably wondering, how am I going to shift? What I'm doing is I'm using the stock, the basic push-pull concept of the stock Mclaren Gt3 wheel. Got a little bit ahead of myself. The Mclaren Gt3 wheel has a push-pull system, so you could shift up or down by pushing or pulling on the lever. It's just a lever, and you push on one side and it pulls on the other side. So I'm using that same concept, but I'm replacing their bar with the new custom bar. This is development, by the way. The production unit should look a little bit better than this. Biggest thing is you'll see on the front here 2 red buttons. These are adjustable in and out, but what you can do is now you have push button shifters. So my thumbs, if I can get this in the video, I'll be able to shift with my thumbs. And these will be adjustable in and out. If you don't, in fact, that shifter bar is going to be an optional component. You don't have to buy it. If you don't shift a lot, maybe you're doing oval racing or using automatic, you can actually just program these buttons up here to be your shifters. This is just a little easier to get to. Also too, with consoles, if you have to use the stock shifter input, this will allow you to use stock shifter input. Also, in addition to the push buttons, you'll see that I've got a tiny little paddle right there. What that does is it allows you to also paddle shift. So I can fully operate the gas and still upshift, downshift, whatever I have that configured for. I can actually shift up and down with one hand. I don't have to use the other hand for that. A lot of different possibilities there. So it's really up to you. I'm going to make different components that you can add in here. But so far, in the testing that we've done, my son's been testing it, I've been testing it, we're liking it quite a bit. At first, it's a little bit odd, but then once you get a few laps in, it becomes quite nice. But the biggest thing is it gives you room for full-size paddles, so when you get in those tight hairpin corners, you can actually control the gas and brake properly. Anybody who's used a paddle knows the challenge there. Now the other thing you'll notice is that these cams here and this piece across here, this is important. So the brake, a lot like the ring system, this is a load cell emulator. There's very little travel, but there's a lot of pressure. And if this is going to be adjustable, you can see as I back this off, you may see if it's zoomed in enough. Let me get it up here. If you watch, you'll see that it's 2-stage. I'm going to compress a spring, and then I'm on a brake rubber, I'll call it. And that is adjustable, so you can and you can put different rubbers in here, different springs. I'm not quite sure what the final configuration is going to be, but the bottom line is this thing feels a lot like a load cell. So you're braking based on the pressure you're putting on the paddle, not how far you're pulling in the paddle. And it makes it a lot easier to hold the brake in corners. You can kind of lock in the brake and you can trail brake more easily, whereas with the standard paddle, you just naturally tend to move that paddle as you're steering. So I'm looking for that to be a big improvement in paddle systems. And so far in our testing has been very good. So anyways, again, this is all a prototype. It will be changing a little bit. We're pretty close to getting some initial testers out there. One more thing I wanted to cover on this, you may notice if this one is configured for left-hand braking, very easy to configure for right-hand braking. All you do is you disconnect this link. Take this tube out, you connect it over here on this paddle, and you've just switched the mechanism over. One thing too is the travel of the paddle is adjustable. I've got this one at almost full travel, available travel. This side here, if I back the adjuster off, you'll see that it doesn't go as far. You also hear a little bit of squeak. That's something that I'm working out as well. The Fanatic Driver is very nice in that if you configure the paddle for just a little bit of movement, it'll pick it up and it'll adjust and it'll give you full movement. So it allows you to go with just a little bit of movement on the brake paddle with a lot of pressure, so you can really get that feeling like a load cell. I think that is it. Again, the installation shouldn't be too bad. I think most people will be able to install that without any trouble. The shifter bar will be optional. By the way, to replace that shifter bar, it's just this one pin. You pull this pin out and you just put the new bar in. Everything with any SimAbility product, trying to make it as adjustable as possible. You'll see the paddles will be adjustable in and out. You can change the position of the paddle, the brake rubber, all that's going to be adjustable. Price point for this, I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it should be pretty reasonable. Frankly, it should be less than the GT paddles that we have, because there are no electronics. I don't have to deal with cords, connector boxes, spacers, so much stuff on the GT paddles that really raises the cost on that. This should be a more affordable unit. And the wheel itself is, the Mclaren Gt3 wheel is a pretty good wheel. I like it a lot. The other thing that I am looking at, I've had a lot of requests for the brake rubber system or something similar on the, what is it, the advanced paddle module. So that's something else I'm looking at. Probably won't have anything this year, but it'd be nice to be able to put something like this on their on Fanatic's F1 wheel and some of the advanced podium module stuff. But it's on the map. I wouldn't promise it for this year. So if you have any questions, go ahead and you can post them in the comments. You can email me at glenn.sidman@simability.com. I may not be able to answer the questions. A lot of this is still in development. I don't know the answers to a lot of it myself yet, but feel free to ask. And you don't have to subscribe. Don't worry about that. You don't even have to like the video. If you don't like it, don't like it. But anyways, so if you're wondering what we're coming out with in the future, this is the Fanatic stuff we're looking at. So thanks for watching, and have a great day or evening. Bye.